This is Pitcher, Oklahoma, located in the heart of the Tri-State Mining District, and once a national center of lead and zinc mining. In 1926, Pitcher had nearly 15,000 residents. As decades passed, mining activity dropped, and by the 1960s, only 2,500 residents remained. Pitcher is surrounded by white mountains of a fine gravel substance called chat, which is a byproduct of lead extraction. With the town residents unaware of the dangers of this highly toxic substance, it was readily used as filler material in driveways, sidewalks, and even children's sandboxes. In the 1990s, a guidance counselor noticed a high number of the town's students had learning disabilities. Knowing this was a symptom of lead poisoning, the counselor demanded lead testing on all of the students. 50% of the students tested had unsafe levels of lead in their blood. The Environmental Protection Agency stepped in and declared Pitcher a Superfund site, an area so toxic that residents were given mandatory evacuation notices. By 2008, only a few residents remained in the town of Pitcher. Little did they expect the town would suffer yet another blow.
Oh my gosh. There's a tornado right there. Right there. You look at that, and then you get in that bathroom. See it? It is right there on the ground. You see it?
Yeah.
It is right there. It's on the ground. It's just a little bit to the south of us, about 400 yards. Oh my God.
Hey everyone, this is Dan Bell, and in this film we're going to be touring the remains of the town of Pitcher, Oklahoma. Pitcher is a Tar Creek Superfund site, which means that it is put on a priority list for cleanup. It is so polluted that it is uninhabitable by people and animals. In 1970, the mines surrounding Pitcher were all abandoned, and over the next few years the mines started to flood, so they filled with water, and that water turned quickly acidic because of the arsenic and the cadmium and the lead and everything else that was in the mines. So that water then seeped up through the ground, and that's when the trouble began. It seeped into the Tar Creek, which runs through Pitcher. The water in Tar Creek took on a red color, and the banks of the creek began to turn orange. People would swim in the water in the swimming holes, and they would come out thinking they had sunburns. And what was actually happening was that they had chemical burns from all the acid in the water. Man, this thing's a mess. So after Tar Creek was deemed toxic, it took 10 additional years for them to figure out that the chat piles were also extremely dangerous to humans. This is a complete mobile home right here that burned down. All that's left. Chat is basically the waste that is left over from zinc and lead mining. It contains high amounts of toxins such as lead, zinc, and cadmium. Basically, the rocks that are taken out of the mine are crushed and grinded down to remove the ore. The leftover material is chat. The chat was used around homes, in children's sandboxes. Kids would ride their bikes up the piles. They would sled ride down the piles. They would have picnics on the piles. The chat contains high amounts of lead. Now, how that gets absorbed is the larger rocks in the chat piles are not really that dangerous. It's the powdery part of the piles that is extremely dangerous because it gets in the air, kids breathe it in, kids get it in their mouth, it goes into their stomach, and they absorb the lead quickly. I must say, out of all the ghost towns I have ever visited, Pitcher is definitely the most tragic. I can't quite explain the feeling of walking around and seeing those giant piles of toxic chat sitting there, knowing that so many people were poisoned, so many people's children were poisoned, so many people were uprooted because of that material. Try to imagine the town you live in with all the places you love. Home, you have theaters, you have bowling alleys, you have places that you remember and love. Imagine building a life there with your family and then getting sick and having kids that are sick and you don't know why, and then being ordered to evacuate because you're being poisoned. I can't think of anything scarier or more horrific. What a horrible, horrible situation that must have been for so many residents. I'll never ever forget visiting Pitcher, Oklahoma. How sad.